If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyle and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyle Financial Group. Guys, first I want to bring up what we talk about each and every single show, which is income, and generating that income in retirement. And for years, pensions helped accomplish a lot of that. And then companies shifted to 401ks. Believe it or not, today only 15% of private sector employees have pensions, and many miss them. Case in point here, great example, workers at aircraft maker Boeing. They recently walked the picket line for 2 months demanding that pensions return. And in the end, the strike was settled without that actually happen. All that to be said here, if an employer does not offer a pension, how can you, Steve and Derrick, help us create a personal pension for retirement?
Well, I think it's really an exciting opportunity, Jess. People can create their own pension. They can figure out when they want to turn that income on. They can figure out what type of income. They can have joint income. A lot of pensions upon death of the participant would only be 25% or 50% of the spouse. With our plans, you can have 100% beneficiary amount. So I think that's huge, Derrick.
Oh, absolutely. Even the people that do have pensions out there, and if you don't, listen up as well. But those pensions aren't as rosy and good as sometimes you think. Everybody wishes they had a pension, but generally about 80% of these pensions can be beaten with a higher income amount using just the marketplace out there with fixed index annuities that have those lifetime income components. And it offers a lot more options as far as how your beneficiaries inherit money. As Steve mentioned, there's a potential inheritance there to kids if you and your wife both pass away that pensions never offer anybody.
It's over.
And you also have the option to continue to have your funds grow some and things like that. That once you click on the dotted line and you write your name on it, that's it. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. And there's a lot of inflation adjustments, too, in fixed index annuities that have that. And, guys, a pension is an annuity. That's what they are. So, it's kind of funny. Sometimes people are like, oh, no, I don't want an annuity, Derrick. In fact, I had a meeting yesterday, and the guy was like, hey, let's talk about this annuity, this piece of my portfolio. And he says, that's I don't want that. And so we started going through the benefits of it, the income it creates, and the safety of where we move these funds from and everything. He was like, oh, well, no, Derrick, that's exactly what I want. It's an annuity named from the 80s and everything that gives them bad names and everything. But when you go through the benefits of them, like creating substantially more income than what you can do off market assets and everything, they fit your portfolio fantastic. They're a great thing. But even if you have a pension, guys, talk to us. Give us a call because pensions can be beaten all the time to provide you much better growth.
And I think one thing, Derrick, as we talk about pensions today, my second year in the business, I was like 27 years old, had this guy call us, wanted to retire. He was widowed, and he had 4 daughters. Well, so people that work at Phillips Petroleum, they either live a really long time or not long at all. He retired. He was perfect health. Derrick, he didn't live 24 months. So he turned his pension on. He got payments less than 24 monthly payments and died. I mean, he was early 60s. And so you know what? The pension won. Think about all the money that he left behind. Of course, his 401k money went to his kids, but that pension, we're talking about a lot of money. So, people come to see us and we look at, can we do better? Because, our programs that we put together, if something happens to you, even a husband and wife, there's money there left for the kids. So I just think knowing what your options are, that's what really matters.
Yeah, and I mean, Steve, I don't know about you, buddy, but I'm not letting any company or the government get that kind of money from any of our clients. Hands down.
Absolutely.
We are going to foolproof that where you have some legacy, guys, to leave. You work long, you work hard hours for you to retire and for you to take care of your family. That's a travesty, Steve. I hate hearing that story, man. So Guys, first 5 callers today, we're going to sit down with you and show you how you can create your own personal pension for retirement, where you have that steady stream of income and you have dependable income, that with your Social Security, that's going to really impact your life in retirement.
Derrick, I want to bring it back to you real quick because you say something just about every single week that I think resonates with everybody. We are getting into the end of year, holiday season. Lots of folks busy out there, people prioritizing the holiday travel plans, parties, gifts, etc., but they're not prioritizing their financial future. Tell the folks what you tell them every single week about finding time to meet with you.
Hey, look, everybody, you can give your boss, 2-3 more years of your life, or you can give me 2 or 3 hours, to sit down with you and hammer out the details where you can retire with that added peace of mind that you need in retirement to know where your income is going to come from. What are you going to do if taxes go up? What are you going to do about legacy, and inheritance for your kids? We look at every single aspect of your retirement future and put a plan together that's stress tested to the max to make sure that you have necessary preparation, guys. I'm telling you, don't put it off. I have clients that are 20 years away from retirement that have these plans right now in force. So it's not, hey, I'm too far away from retirement. Absolutely not. There is never a bad time to plan for your financial future. And what is it you say, Steve, all the time? Like, everybody spends months planning a vacation and 1 hour right before they retire.
A year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just crazy, Derrick. I mean, the final phase of life. I always laugh about back in the day. I used to go to TG&Y. You probably don't know what those are, but Jess and I do. But buy that white piece of poster board and say, take this home and use the magazines. And this is your storyboard. This is what you want to do in retirement. And it was so cool. They'd come back and they were like, oh, we have a couple things we want to do together. We both want to go on a trip. It's just fun to see people really do that as opposites attract. It's really fun.
Yeah. Now, I want to jump into taxes here. I know that's been really a conversation that we have had year-round here, and now even more so. We know Trump will take office in a few months. We'll see where he puts the Trump tax cuts. And, many people assume that when they retire and they're no longer earning a paycheck, that their taxes will go down. But tax planning expert Jeff Levine, he tells Morningstar that often turns out to be wrong.
And they've saved and saved and saved, and they've continuously put aside these dollars into these tax-deferred accounts, and at some point they reach retirement where they're going to need those dollars, and they begin to take them out either by choice or at some point because of required minimum distributions. And the amount of income that comes out, along with any interest they may have and taxable dividends, capital gain income, etc., that may very well push them into a higher tax environment than they were while they were working.
And let's be honest, none of us want to be pushed into a higher tax environment. So what are the factors that can put you into a higher tax bracket in retirement? And bottom line, guys, Steve, Derrick, how can you help us plan to avoid a huge tax bill year after year?
I mean, I think that what a great opportunity to sit down and look at what kind of taxes you're going to be paying the rest of your life. Think about doing a Roth conversion, either getting those taxes being one and done in 1 year, or, we have a really great analysis program where we can look at your past tax returns and we can figure out the right way for you to do Roth conversions and get those taxes out of the way. So when you get ready to retire, you have tax-free income. I just think it's a great way. No matter, even if the Trump tax package is renewed, taxes are going to be crazy in retirement, Derrick.
Yeah, percentages, I've learned over the years that don't quote percentages to people when we start talking about, taxes. I had a guy the other day, we were able to lower his taxable implications for the future. For the next 7 years, we were able to lower that tax rate by 4% on what he was going to, take out in income. And he was like, well, Derrick, it's only 4%. So
only
then
doesn't seem like a lot, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I told him that's actually $141,000. What do you think he said there? He's like, "Oh, okay,
sign me up."
Yeah, let's do it then." Every little bit helps with taxes. Everybody that's listening to this is everybody works too hard, guys. We work too hard, and we have to be one of those things where we work smarter, not harder. And put your money to work for you and get tax analysis from us where we can detail, hey, let's trim the fat here. I'm going to show you exactly what tax advantages you have available to you and what we can do differently. Just the other day, too, a client out of Dallas, like his wife does these Christmas wreaths. And it was just a normal conversation. I was checking in on him and everything.
That's great.
And so she does these Christmas wreaths, and she sells them on Facebook and everything. And I was like, I can't believe you didn't tell me that. And they were sitting there going, well, what do you mean? And I said, hey, we're going to create an LLC, help you do that. And we're going to run all these expenses through this LLC for this wreath company. And she's like, well, it's a side gig, and I make a little bit of money. And I'm like, hey, the tax advantages there? It's the best thing. Now that we have it all set up, it is literally the best thing that ever happened to their tax life. And it's just utilizing what they had already done. Just Christmas wreaths, right? Who would have thought Christmas wreaths was the best thing tax-wise that they've ever done? But there's so many advantages there.
Derrick, the interesting thing, I was sitting across the table as you were talking about it. When she first brings it up, her husband's like, okay, and then when Derrick started talking about these advantages, he's like, oh, yeah. All of a sudden, that little wreath program has a lot of merit. It was just kind of funny how, let's talk. It just, it starts changing, the whole landscape of that wreath program. A great moment.
Yeah, I think it comes down to you don't know what you don't know. I mean, to her, she was like, I'm making a couple bucks, to keep up with groceries, etc. Little did she know the opportunities there on the table. And that happens a lot when people come and meet with both of you guys, Steve and Derrick. Folks sit down and they think the conversation or the meeting's going to go one way, and then they end up leaving having so much more knowledge. They feel so much better. They have so many more opportunities than they thought were even possible. A lot of folks, let's be honest, we are working hard and we are just trying to put food on the table at this point with the way inflation is, the way the economy's been for the past couple of years. So the fact of thinking, if I can barely afford my American Express bill and the grocery bill, how am I going to be able to afford to retire? Yeah. And then they sit down with you guys and you go, well, no, wait a minute, slow down here. Let's put everything down. Let's put all the pieces on the table. Let's see how they're going to connect the best way for you. And Derrick, I know you've helped a lot of people that feel that exact way. They feel like they are under the thumb of the government and their employer, and they feel like I'm never going to be able to retire.
Yeah, and that's the number one fear. Guys are running out of money in retirement and everything, and it's never too late. I'll tell everybody that's listening there to put a plan into action, because you could save $50 more a month, or you pay $50 less in taxes each month. Everything plays a part in your financial stability, and you got to take advantage of it. Don't think that I won't ever be able to do it, because listen, guys, everybody's being killed by inflation. Everybody's being killed by the oil and changes on your car, and things happen with the house, everything like that. But don't feel like there's not any hope, because there always is. There's always something that we can do for you to put you on the right path. Now, is it hard? Yeah. It's hard work sometimes. But nothing in life that's worth anything is going to be easy, unless you win the lottery, right, guys? I mean, what? But,
I wish.
Yeah, it wouldn't
be
a
great
bad
statement.
That's a different retirement plan, I will say. So I'd be happy to go with that one as well. And guys, if you are listening to this and you have these worries about how you're going to pay for things in retirement, or if you're ever going to retire, call us today. We will put together a retirement plan for you that will definitely change your life and give you a lot of great things to look forward to in the future. Because I want you to look at what you're going to do with your family and where you're going to travel. Not, am I ever going to get there?
Now, you have folks all across the board here, folks that are doing more than enough to retire, folks that say, I'm never going to get there. Then you get the folks that say, oh, man, I think I'm going to have to delay retirement. Well, Goldman Sachs, they just released its annual report on retirement, and they found these staggering items here. 60% of workers will delay retirement due to lack of assets. 27% will delay it by 1 to 3 years. 9% will delay 4 to 5 years. 10% will delay even longer. So what is your message to somebody that is just convinced they can't do it? They have to delay their retirement. What do you say, guys?
So the biggest thing here, Jess, is to actually get with somebody. Most of the time, people have misconceptions on how they want to retire and what assets they have to lean on and what that whole picture looks like. That's the biggest thing. And what we do instead of calling like into us and speaking with us is we put our head in the sand. I don't have any more options, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Well, that may be true. You may have to work, another year or two. But having me look at that and tell you definitively, hey, we need more time, we need more assets, things like that, it does happen, guys, but more often than not, I'm able to tell people, hey, we do a couple tweaks here, your target is perfect. Or, hey, you only got to work 6 more months versus 3 more, 4 more years. And you don't know if you don't ask.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things to look at. And just like you may be listening right now, guys, you might be an oil and gas operator. You might be a doctor. You might be a lawyer. You might be an engineer. I can't do what you do. And you shouldn't expect yourself to do what I do. That's why you partner with a professional that can go through your finances and look at all that. And honestly, unemotionally. It's all about the numbers and putting it all together and making sure that you have proper income. You're taking advantage of taxes. You're set up for wills, power of attorneys, all these different things that most of the time nobody thinks about until I mention it to them. That's why you partner with somebody like us.
You ought to partner with us today. What you really ought to do, Derrick, I tell people, is come experience the Hoyle difference. Come in, call us, let's sit down, let's do a Zoom, let's sit down in our office, let's get to know each other, and let's put a plan in place that assures success in retirement, through retirement, and a really strong legacy plan to leave money behind. That's what it's about. But you've got to get started today. Every day that you have time on your side, you're going to be so much further ahead in that retirement you've always dreamed of.
Now, just briefly, I want to bring up the elephant in the room. Yes, it was a big election. Yes, Trump is going to take office in just a couple months. Believe it or not, a lot of people out there that say, oh my gosh, I don't need to even be worried about my money. Trump's going to come in. He's going to save the day. The market's going to be great. I'm going to make so much money, blah, 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 you name it. What do you say to those folks out there that are just putting all their eggs in one basket, that everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns?
I think the question is, did you plan to fail or fail to plan? People are so worried about what's happening on Wall Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. They need to worry about their street. They need to all of a sudden figure out how much they've saved, how it's allocated, and really come up with a plan and get started, Derrick.
Absolutely, Steve. I'll say that. And guys, I mean, quite honestly, the biggest impact that you can make on your finances start at home. There's a lot of things that we hedge against, and we as financial professionals have to hedge against and think about and everything. But the biggest impact to someone's retirement is ourselves. What you can do with your portfolio and your saving and your budgeting and everything will always far exceed what some president does in the office. I promise you that. I mean, whether, which way you lean there, guys, we had 4 years of Trump, 4 years of Biden. Is anybody listening so filthy rich that, they're just sitting on a beach somewhere, right? No. Everybody, maybe you're better off under one administration than another, but there wasn't a giant cash cow that fell into your lap, guys. Mm-hmm, so in 4 years from now, we'll have a different president. It's us. It's hard work, taking control of your finances and partnering with somebody who's going to meet your needs and make sure that you have the retirement you need. I mean, president or not, guys, I mean, we got to rely on ourselves.
Derrick, I'm not going to get back into the election talk, but I want to say one thing and one thing only. You and I talked about this 6 months ago, and we said one of the top 3 hottest topics would be Social Security. We hardly heard anything about it. And I mean,
they don't have a plan, Steve. Come on. They have no idea.
But it affects so many Americans. And, we talked about all this garbage during the election, but we never talked about some of these cornerstones that are really the future of the American country. Social Security is something that impacts 98% of Americans. And, in 10 years, if we don't make a change, you're going to have a 25 to 30% reduction in it. So I don't mean to harp on that one topic. I'm just saying some of these cornerstones we never talked about. That's what has me most worried as American. I don't care if you vote red. I don't care if you vote blue or purple. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you something. As Americans, we've got to wake up and we have to be responsible for our own strategy that we put in place for our future.
Absolutely, Steve, because, like you said, 98% of Americans, guys, if we get our Social Security cut by a quarter to half, that's devastating for most Americans. And that's something that needs to be talked about and fixed. And that's something that needs to be planned for. Where, hey, if it doesn't happen and they fix Social Security, great, more money in your pocket. If it does, then you're not sleeping on the street, guys.
If If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derrick or a member of the Hoyle Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyle Wealth Management, a Texas registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyle, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyle is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyle is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.